That expensive zoom lens you love, it might be making you a lazy and predictable cinematographer. I know, it's a piece of gear that promises you the world. It's versatile, it's convenient. It gives you the sweeping wide, the intimate close-up, and everything in between with just a twist of a ring. But what if all that freedom isn't freedom at all? What if it's a creative cage? We've been sold this idea that more options equal more creative power. The paradox, though, is that boundless freedom can be paralyzing. It's like standing in front of a blank, infinite canvas. You're so overwhelmed by where to make the first stroke that you just end up making the most obvious one. This isn't a debate about sharpness or bokeh. This is about storytelling. This is about how the deliberate limits of a prime lens can force you out of a passive mindset and into a world of dynamic, intentional, and story-driven movement. The core promise of a zoom is that you never have to miss a shot. You can stand in one spot and reframe, punch in, or pull out, basically controlling the world from a distance. But that very convenience is often what leads to creative stagnation. It's so easy to just plant your feet and let the lens do all the work. And that creates a subtle but real mental block, analysis paralysis. With a zillion focal lengths at your fingertips, you're constantly second-guessing yourself. Should I be at 35 millimeters? Or maybe 40? Is 50 better for this emotion? That constant low-level buzz of technical indecision pulls your attention away from what actually matters: the story, the performance, the emotional heartbeat of the scene. You stop being an artist who's responding to the moment and become a technician hunting for the correct focal length. The zoom ring becomes a crutch. It stops you from actually engaging with the physical space you're in. You start seeing the world as just a series of flat compositions to be resized, not a three-dimensional world to be explored. Taking that away doesn't remove options. It removes the illusion of choice and gives you a single, powerful command: move. Once you lock on a single focal length, a 28, a 50, an 85, whatever, the only way to change your composition is to physically move. We call it the foot zoom, and it's one of the most transformative things you can do for your craft. All of a sudden, filmmaking isn't a passive act of watching from afar. It's a kinetic dance with your subject and your surroundings. Instead of just twisting a barrel, you're forced to walk, to crouch, to lean, to push through the space. And that movement does more than just get you closer or farther away. It fundamentally changes your relationship with the scene. As you move, the whole perspective shifts. The background expands, the foreground rushes up to meet you, and angles you never would have seen from your static little bubble suddenly appear. A few steps to the left might perfectly align your actor with a leading line in the background. Crouching down might turn a boring patch of ground into a powerful foreground element that adds incredible depth. The foot zoom forces you to feel the space with your body, not just see it with your eyes. You go from being a distant spectator to an active participant, discovering powerful compositions that were hiding in plain sight, compositions a zoom lens, stuck in one spot, would have never let you find. When you commit to a single focal length for a whole project, or even just for a day, something remarkable happens. You start to master it. That field of view becomes an extension of your own vision. You just know how a 35mm lens is going to render a room before you even bring the camera to your eye. You can pre-visualize your shots because you've trained your brain to see the world through that one specific window. And all that technical hesitation, it just melts away. The "what lens should I use?" question is already answered, so your brain is free to focus on what really matters: framing, timing, performance, and feeling. This has a powerful effect on the audience too. When a film has a consistent and deliberate visual language, it just feels more cohesive. Think about films shot entirely on one or two prime lenses. They have a distinct personality, a unique signature. The constraint forces the filmmakers to find more creative ways to get coverage and create emphasis. They have to use blocking, lighting, and camera movement to guide our eyes instead of just zooming in. The audience might not consciously notice the focal length isn't changing, but they feel the result. A sense of confidence, of a story being told by someone with a clear, unwavering point of view. Let's be honest, one of the biggest siren songs of prime lenses is that creamy, blurry background you get from a wide aperture. But real cinematic depth isn't just about bokeh. It's about creating a layered, three-dimensional world inside a two-dimensional frame. A zoom lens often encourages a lazy, flattened sense of space. You find a safe distance, plant your tripod, and just punch in for your close-up. Sure, the background gets compressed, but you haven't really engaged with it. A prime lens makes you completely rethink that relationship. To get that close-up with a wider prime, you have to physically get closer to your subject. That simple act dramatically changes everything. The foreground becomes huge and significant, creating this powerful sense of being right there in the moment. You're forced to think about what's between you and the subject. Can you shoot through this doorway? Past that lamp? Through these leaves? This prime lens workout forces you to use your environment to create layers of depth. You're not just capturing a person anymore, you're framing them within a tangible, living world. This journey from the convenience of a zoom to the intentionality of a prime is a powerful one. But what about you? Have you ever challenged yourself to shoot with a single focal length? What were the struggles? What were the breakthroughs? Drop your stories in the comments below. I want to hear about the focal length that changed the way you see. Look, this isn't about some snobbish rejection of technology. Modern zoom lenses are optical marvels and they have their place. This is about a philosophy of creating. It's about recognizing that sometimes the biggest creative leaps happen when we embrace meaningful constraints. By taking away the easy answer of the zoom ring, you force yourself to ask much more interesting questions. How can I move my body to tell this story better? How can I use the space around me to build emotion? Committing to a prime forces you to be a more active, more intentional, and ultimately, a more physical storyteller. It turns filmmaking from static observation into a dynamic dance. It's not about throwing your zoom lenses in the trash. It's about understanding that the convenience they offer can sometimes be the biggest barrier to your own growth. So next time you head out, think about leaving the big zoom at home. Take one lens, just one, and see how that limitation doesn't confine you, but actually sets you free.